long before the MCU fully took over TV and media, Marvel was still experimenting its foundations. Around this time, it's 2008. They were like building the foundation of that established franchise. They were experimenting with different tones, actors, and versions of same characters. And a few months before the MCU would grow its roots, they decide to take an extreme example of a beloved vigilante, a second reboot of The Punisher. And that is just about 4 years, just right after the last one back in 2004. What's up, guys? My name is Nate, and on this 35th episode of The Road to Avengers Doomsday, we're taking a look at Punisher Warzone, a film that doubled down on the violence, embraced the comic book roots, and became one of the most unique entries in Marvel's early film history. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show as I take you a deep dive into this crazy Punisher movie. So let's get this locked and loaded. So, as you've been seeing in my past few videos, I talked about the two previous Punisher movies. The 1989 movie starring Dolph Lundgren, that ended 4 years ago, in 2004, it was with the Punisher movie with Thomas Jane. The movie has fans, but it leaned into more emotional revenge drama. And when Marvel wanted to do something big for the Punisher, they decided to go all out for this next movie. And let me tell you, the making of this movie was an absolute train wreck from start to finish. Originally Thomas Jane was supposed to return as the role, but he left the project because he didn't like the script and felt like the movie was becoming style over substance. So the role eventually landed down to Ray Stevenson, and to many fans, including myself, he was the definitive live-action Punisher. This film has taken a director in this one, and that's Lexi Alexander. And that alone made the movie more unique. She brought down the comic book energy, mixed it with brutal military-style action. The movie was not trying to be realistic. No. It was not trying to copy The Dark Knight. It embraced insanity. And honestly, that's why it really stands out a lot. And it's just pretty cool of how Marvel was trying to do a proper Punisher movie with this one. And I can really tell what they were trying to establish. So, this Punisher is really more brutal, and he isn't quietly broken. He is fully consumed in his mission. He is cold, direct, and ruthless. And he does not hesitate. He doesn't question. He punishes. So what's this movie about? So the film follows fan Frank Castle as he continues on his war on crime. This is I like how this movie just puts us into the action instead of repeating the whole origin. We don't need that. And that's what later Marvel movies would do in the coming years. But Frank Castle is continuing his war on the crime empire. But after accidentally unaliving an undercover agent, everything changes. The agent's family is left behind, and for one of the few times, Frank feels guilt. That guilt drives the rest of the story. He tries to protect the family from the chaos he helped create. So the main villain of this movie is Jigsaw, played by Dominic West, and this sort of film goes fully comic book style. After being disfigured by the Punisher, Jigsaw becomes a chaotic, theatrical, and completely unhinged. He's loud, over the top, and almost cartoonish at sometimes. And depending on the viewer, that either works or feels like too much. Now, I just gotta talk about the insane violence in this movie. Because, oh boy, if you were thinking, hey, is the Netflix Punisher series pretty good? No, let me tell you guys something. This movie is more insane and violent. I was not joking when I looked into this movie. It just really just goes full on the action. And it's over the top, and it's completely restless. There are just so much stuff that I really want to say, but I don't want to get demonetized in this YouTube video. So let me just say, it is just so insane. Almost 100. This is probably a little much more intenser than the Netflix Punisher series we got years later. And it's just pretty intense of why this movie does extremely well. We get to see Frank Castle's brutality up really close, and the costume design, especially the outfit, looks so good. Like, I knew what Marvel was thinking, but I didn't realize they would go down in this direction. I gotta give props to the director. She did pretty fantastic. Unlike the 2004 film, this Warzone doesn't feel realism. It's just like everything's like all this great shots to do, like the action sequences, the fights, all that jazz. And it's pretty insane of how it's done. For some fans, Punisher Warzone is underrated. They love the comic accurately, the intensity, and the fearless tone. And for others, like some non-comic fans, it's like too much. Too much violence, too much this and that. But they don't understand comic book stuff, sadly. And I'm not criticizing those who are watching this video. You can have your opinions on the stuff and things people watch. Especially for me. I have my own opinions on the movie. So when Punisher Warzone was released back in 2008, around like December, the movie unfortunately wasn't a good box office success. And this would be the last time we see Punisher on the big screen ever. But over time, it has gained a massive cult following. Even so many years later, like even around after what happened with Ray Stevenson when he passed away in 2023, people realize how much of a great Punisher actor he was from that movie. And I gotta say, I appreciate the film a lot, even if some people don't agree with my words. But overall, Punisher Warzone represents the end of an era, a final stretch on the road before the MCU fully takes over movie screens. A time when Marvel films were still experimenting and still trying to figure out what worked. So in conclusion, Punisher Warzone isn't subtle, but it isn't polished. It is unforgettable. A raw, intense action in Marvel's early history. And on this journey, it makes it worth remembering. But if you guys enjoyed this episode of Nate Reviews, make sure you give it a like, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments below. Which Punisher actor do you prefer? Do you prefer this one or the other guys? But let me know down. And might do a poll video on my Instagram or YouTube things. But yeah, I'll see you then. Have a good day and be good people.